Now, before I get into this review, I have come to a very unfortunate realization of something when it comes to the journey of Elaina. I couldn't find the novels anywhere to read greatly, but I couldn't even find the manga. The manga only has up to 10 chapters, all raw. No one has yet to translate these chapters yet. However, there is a site to watch them raw. So, as I was reading them raw, I did not realize how much they changed on this series. And change, I mean by the tone, the characters, some of the situations. I'm like, why? I guess they're trying to appeal this anime to a more widened audience, I guess. But even then, I think this series would have made more of an impact if it went off of the what I read so far in the manga. You know, it's pretty disappointing in my opinion. For instance, the one episode about Elaina going to the village with a boy who is gathering happiness for that maid he had a crush on, and things ended with an open book. However, in the manga, it was completely different. The maid was much older, and the boy was much younger. And the boy saw the maid much as a mother figure, and he gave her the happiness, and she was upset to the point where she committed suicide in front of the father. I was like, really? This would have been way better. Why did you tone it down that much? Therefore, it is my personal favorite. Mira Rose, and how she was this amazing queen, well, princess who wanted revenge against her father. Things were kind of the same, but they were more gruesome. The battle was bloodier. It was, mm. In Journey of Elena, it has its dark moments, but other than that, it feels more toned down, really toned down. And I guess not many people have read the books here in America. Because of that, not many people know that. But of course, I had to do it. And the funny part is, I did it on accident. Because when I'm on that raw site, I usually just randomly pick one, and I don't know the Japanese name for Journey of Elena. And because of that, I clicked on accident, and I ended up finding out, wait, this is Journey of Elena. Oh my goodness. And there's some stories they skipped out on, but the ones they did keep, they toned it down. They really toned it down. So, yeah. So go on Google and look for Journey of Elena chapters raw, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, without further ado, let's get in with the review. Now, this is once again one of those episodes that talks about two different stories. One is shorter than the other, but nonetheless brings something interesting to value. The first one brings a big mystery on its own, despite how short it was. It's about a country of dividing wall and two sides who could not get along. So neither side decided to look over on the other side, and they do that because it's ignorance. They don't want to see the other side. They want to think that mindset that their side is the best side compared to the other one. This is something that's completely relatable to today's world, where definitely now, where people do not want to get along. They don't try to get along, they don't even try to talk to each other to see they can compare and contrast their ideals. They don't want to do that today. It's if you are caught talking to these people, we'll blacklist you. You're exiled from our side. And it sucks it has to be that way. It's amazing. We grow up reading these kind of stories, learning these kind of values, and only to cast them aside in the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, there are some people, such as myself and others, who do not forget about these lessons and these values. And they our very best to keep them in our lives every single day. You know, like this thing's been done before. Duckman, Very Odd Parents, Dr. Seuss. a lot of people have done this concept of the dividing wall of a town or a country, and then they realize they're not that different after all, and so the wall comes tumbling down. But the way the wall went tumbling down is very hilarious. We see Saya again, and the thing that Saya is actually a competent witch is hilarious, because her character is usually in a cliche where they're just obsessed with the main character, but they're not that well off of being who they are. I stand corrected. Saya's craziness for Elaina caused the wall to be destroyed by writing whatever you want on the wall. And because of that, people came back and started destroying the wall because they were so embarrassed or they regret what they wrote. And it was just, it eventually tore down. Now, the biggest mystery of this episode is Nike. I can't believe her name is Nike. It's ridiculous. Well, anyways, Elaina looks up to this witch, and apparently she was there 10 years before, and she's the one that came up with the idea of what to do with the wall. Now, Elaina comes there, and now they say she looks just like her. I'm like, interesting. I'm like, could it have been the mom or something? It looks like it's leading up to it being the mom or somebody. It's interesting how she's reading all the stories and then she goes there on the adventure herself. Or when she's at a place, some situation reminds her of something inside a book. It's very interesting, you know. Now, the second half didn't have much of true value to the plot, but however, it was very entertaining. We got onto some fetish levels here, man. Stomp, baby. She goes to a place called, or two villages called This and That Village. That's right, This and That Village. And of course, both sides are trying to sell their wine. One side from that village has Rosemary as their main mascot for their wine, where she steps on the grapes lovingly. And of course, we get into some fetish kind of levels here, man. You gotta see some stepping. And this village was getting jealous. And speaking of getting jealous, the women from this village, you just see them like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. We would just cast aside for this stranger witch, and Elaina, who becomes the new mascot for this village's wine, and how she starts stepping on it. One side looks lovely, the other side looks completely furious. Furious. It's but only to find out that these people in some of these villages and countries aren't that smart when you really think about it. When she was asking, Elaine was able to do like a case of wine, and that was a whole day's worth of work. So the fact that she was only do a case of wine, and it makes you wonder how is one person, despite how lovely she steps on them grapes, it doesn't make any sense how she able to do so much in so little time. Only to actually sneak on the other competition and find out it wasn't her doing it, but it was the man. It was the man. So they start getting into a great fight, throwing grapes at each other. Elaine got drunk for her first time, drinking wine, and starts bulleting it, and she made a holiday after it. And now everyone throws grapes at each other to relieve stress, and the village became one. And once again, another village becomes one. And of course, I don't know what happened with Rosemary. I guess him and her are just living together, I guess. Hey, she likes older dudes, I guess. Anyways, this was a very entertaining episode. Like, the last episode was entertaining too, but I'm just gonna say all the episodes are entertaining and stuff. And it's it shocks me very interestingly how these witches are causing such paradigm shifts, probably using the wrong word for it, where they're causing such an impact on the world, how it changes their ideals, their culture, and even probably their economics and religion. It's kind of scary how much witches can just change, shift of the world. It can be just one going to a village just for one day and causing so much to happen. Very interesting. But anyways, um, like I said, very entertaining. It was hilarious, especially when Elaina had her ego to be destroyed. She had her ego damaged in both stories when you think about it. The two old officials in the first story, and then the second story, it was Rosemary completely shattering her by her looks. And you know, Elaina is a very prideful, egotistical witch. So for someone to insult her like that, she ain't going to have it. So all around, enjoy this episode. It was nice. It was fun to watch. And of course, we gotta see some stopping, serious stepping, baby. Well, anyway, this is all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox on Anime, signing out.